Words of wisdom. The only advantage somebody really has over you is that they can kiss your ass and you can't kiss yours. Welcome to Fat, Drunk, and Happy, my friends. Part 2 of this new run. I'm Cody Stortz, chef, podcast something, and some sort of some SEO thing. I haven't figured it out yet, dude. And sitting to my right is Mr.
That's me, Mr. Dave Mao, chef. Yeah. Also, what am I today? Today I am aspiring rep. Today I'm focused on bartending, and I'm focused on my pool. Those are the three things.
Your pool. I think the pool's the best of the 3 jobs. I'm not going to lie right now.
My pool's been pretty nice. It's getting a little chilly, but yeah, it's been
pool and fluffer. That's been your favorite careers, I know.
God, fluffer's
and I mean your pillows. Come on.
Of course, I got great pillows, man. You know me. Yeah.
And obviously the man with the best haircut in here.
I am Benny, the bar host, and I am not a fluffer.
Not a fluffer is an actual career. I like that, dude. Tony, what's up, brother?
What's up?
Dude, you got the prettiest mic, dude. I'm not going to lie. And you take that however you want.
I bet that looks really good on camera, Tony. I bet that looks good on
does.
camera. Yeah,
no, I know it does.
Yeah. Oh, lordy.
This is the TV-friendly microphone.
Yeah, man. If you light that thing right, you're just going to get all kinds of highlights off it. It's going to look bad.
It's why it's such a popular mic for. It's not a very good sounding microphone, but it's a good looking microphone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's why radio stations have these now.
Good thing you're in radio.
Exactly.
I was going to say, it's very camera friendly, unlike us, but whatever, yeah.
Absolutely.
But those mics sound better.
Well, hey, it happens. It's all in the vocal tones. We want to thank you guys for joining us, man. The first one's really fun. We're getting to know everybody, and we're really looking forward to. We got some stuff coming up. If you guys haven't paid attention or read below, we're gonna have some great other influencers coming on in the future. Some other products coming up soon. Stay tuned. Follow us also at www.fatdrunkinhappy, because we're cool like that. We don't like to spell things right.
Hey, if you don't cut it up, man, you're not cool.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it'll look better on a shirt.
You don't put a Z in the end instead of an S, it's just not working.
Yeah, then you're not from the hood.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
You guys are from Fullerton.
What's
going on, man?
Because the boys in the hood
bro.
If you don't bro me, you don't know me, bro.
You don't know me,
That's
bro.
a great one.
Come
I
on,
like that.
Come on, dude. So what's new, man? What happened this week, Dave? Talk to me, bro.
Living the dream, kind of getting ready to come on board with a new role for me outside the immediate kitchen chefing realm.
Outside of the restaurant world.
I know. Well, I mean, I was thinking a lot about one of the first podcasts we did at our house where, that idea of like, wow, am I a failure because I can't do this? There's a lot of insecurity and that idea that, in the same sense that those that can't do teach,
right.
those that can't
100%.
do sell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's going to be an interesting transition for me. I think we were also speaking about, I tend to live a vagabond lifestyle. If I want to go to the mountains for a month, I go to the mountains. And this is going to kind of change that. I don't have a wife and kids and a lot of...
You're going to have to find a much closer mountain, my friend.
I know, exactly. It's going to be Mount Baldy. But yeah, super excited for this project.
Hey, now.
Hey, you like that one?
That's your new name, dude.
Why are you pointing at me,
Mount
Baldy?
Sitting right here.
It's 3 Baldies and a cowboy hat on this show. That's what we're at right now.
That should be the quote.
That should be the quote. 3 Baldies and a cowboy hat.
I like that, dude. That's going on there somewhere, dude.
Oh, it'd be so
Who's the
good.
bull?
Who's the bull?
Moo cowboy.
This guy over here.
Yeah.
I'll take the bull.
By the something.
By the something
No,
or
I
other.
am the bull, so I But let me throw this out. Maybe we should talk about how we're all ambassadors and sales now. My God, I think that
it is
we
a
need
trip.
to change the scope of the show from food and beverage to ambassadors and sales.
What was the last one you said? What's the other title? You had a way cooler one than that on the last show. You're the
steward of the brand.
Steward of the
Mr.
brand.
Steward of the brand. Got
Steward
it.
of the brand.
I think that sits a little bit. I don't need an epicac after I say steward of the brand.
If you say steward of the brand and epicac in the same sentence again, I'm gonna think you're losing it.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. I'm wordy, man. I'm a writer. Come on.
I like that. I like that. I like
So,
that.
are you excited about your new role?
It's gonna be a great transition for me. I am super excited about it.
Good.
I like learning new things. I think the parameters of quote unquote salesmanship are going to be interesting for me to navigate because I'm going to have my own approach to it. I certainly don't judge my worth as a human being as how much I can sell, more like how much good I can do. So it's going to be interesting for me. To kind of
It's hard because I sure did it first. I'm like, man, I have no judgment on what I'm doing other than a number. And it was really hard when really that's not the case, right? I mean, the numbers come and go.
Of course, yeah.
It just happens, right? One day's good, 1 week's bad, 1 week's whatever. That's just how life rolls. But it's hard to not take yourself in that vein.
Yeah, totally. And to your point, and you know this from being in the bar, that you know, if you can stand there and talk about Whistle Pig behind a bar, you know, you can stand there and talk about organic chicken. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different setting. So
I think in our industry we're talkers. So I mean, if you can't go
No
in
way.
and talk about whatever
no,
you're talking
come on,
about.
dude.
Well, okay, I'm going to say this: bartenders are talkers, chefs are yellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
One of us wears our pants a lot less. We're just gonna talk about that.
That would be me. That would be me. My bartending role, actually. Yeah.
Oh, it happens.
I got
dude.
called
It
up by
happens.
the Orange Rotary Club because someone saw my profile pic that John Gilhuey shot at the retreat many years ago, where I got my pants down around my ankles and I'm wearing my.
Please put that in your bio.
Yeah, and
That's all I care about.
And Ray Shire was like, Dave, you know, we can't really have this associated with the Orange Rotary, and I'm like, why not? Come on, I'm not naked or anything. I just got my pants down. What's the big deal? She's like, it's not Rotary material. I'm like, whatever. I'm not changing my profile.
You're like,
Sorry.
how old are you? It might be rotary material. we might have some material for you. Right here,
Exactly,
this little baby
right
arm.
here.
That's how it goes.
Hey, let me throw this out. I took
Sure.
my first probably 3 to 4 family Christmas pictures that you send out to everybody with just a shirt and a tie and underwear.
Perfect.
You know,
Nice.
because
That's
no one
perfect,
sees. You stand in front of the Christmas tree. You're with your wife. You're holding the baby. No one sees what's going on downstairs, and why get fully dressed? You know, taking that shit off anyway. So
It's like the haunted house at Disneyland when the room expands and there's like the
all bad.
alligator like grabbing at the chick or
that
whatever.
would be
yeah.
that would be the best. You see a businessman. He's holding money, smoking a cigar, and then right down, no pants. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
That's every office building, isn't it? I don't know. I've never been in one. I'm just assuming.
You know, that was so okay. That was interesting to me walking into the place where we're currently, you know,
Right.
I'm gonna be
Absolutely.
working. And walking, I haven't walked into an office. I honestly don't even remember the last time.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, and I like walk in, and I'm like, you know, wow, these are office people.
Yeah.
I literally have no idea what world they function in at all.
Don't
you know?
worry. You'll know.
Yeah, and I was like,
It's a trip, man. And same in warehouse world is a whole another different world. It's a whole different thing, dude. Warehousing, logistics, like the battle that goes on there. I couldn't even start to grasp their reality of how they move things and buy things and package things and where they're getting it and the expiration dates and how it's stored and stocked and USDA. And I mean, it's wild, man.
wow, yeah,
Just wait. I've learned more in the last year about food and beverage than I did in the last 15 years of cooking.
yeah, and that's the exciting thing for me. And you know, I know booze pretty well, and I've been a chef. I know product pretty well, but as far as the logistics of product in itself, like that, I hope I turn out to be great in this role. You know what I mean? But if nothing else, if I spend 2 years doing it, I'm going to be stoked that I just learned that side of things.
I'm going to teach you a great phrase.
Yes,
I'm doing the best I can, chef.
got it. I'm doing the best I can, chef.
Let me
I'm calling for the truck. Everything's screwed up. You know what, man? I'm doing the best I can.
I'm
chef.
really good at that.
I will let you know as soon as I hear something. When will that be? I'm doing the best I can.
Dave, let me throw this out. The thing you said when we were all talking was the best thing that you could possibly say, is which I 100% believe I can do anything that's put in front of me.
Absolutely.
As long as you believe that, you're going to be successful in anything you do.
Yeah, and that goes for our audience members too. Like if you really believe that you can do something, then that's a mindset kind of going in. That everybody isn't cut out for everything, but yeah, if you go and you know what,
I don't know what you're talking about. I was okay at porn. Find that one on the internet. I dare you. I dare you.
yeah,
Just kidding.
I won't
Kinda.
divulge your stage name. And I'll wax a little philosophical, but I grew up in the 909. That's where I came from, and
We won't hold that against you.
I know, thank you. In case you guys in the audience don't know where the 909 is, it's San Bernardino County out here in Southern California. Not the best place to live, but I grew up with a lot of guys that woke up every morning and the world's stupid and shitty and nothing ever works out. And when I go back and visit, those guys are still kind of in that spot. You know, and so if you wake up, and this is just life 101, but if you wake up every morning, whether there's a chef or a bartender or a writer or an audio engineer guy or anything else, and just kick yourself in the nuts that everything's going to not fucking work, pardon my language, that's just exactly how it's going to roll out, man.
100%.
It's just so okay, cool. I'd rather set high expectations and ideas of success and fail than just automatically fail myself coming right out the gate. Like that doesn't even make any sense.
Just go in the bull ride and walk out next to him. Like, this is the bull.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lay down.
I'm just gonna lay down right now. Yeah, it's a really
Thanks. Jump up and throw your hat in the air.
that's a really good visual, chef. That's a really good visual.
I won.
So that's enough of my life stuff for one day. I'm gonna lay off it. I promise.
Let me throw this out on that topic as well. You know, the key is believing in yourself, because if you can't bullshit yourself, you can't bullshit anybody else. So
Yeah, I had somebody
you got to
told me,
believe your own bullshit.
I was laughing the other day. I had a chef that I'd worked with a long time ago. Well, he cooked for me back when we were doing all the Coachellas and stuff, and he hit me up about a week ago, and he's got some new concept. He's got 4 kids now, and he's like, "Hey, chef, I really feel stuck and this and that, and I wanted to talk to you about like where you started and what you wanted to do, and like I'm just really confused." And I was like, "Well, why, man? Like, yeah, hit me up." So of course I said, "Well, I'll be taking a dump in about 10 minutes. Give me a call. We'll talk while I'm."
Oh,
Because that's when the best things happen,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh man.
But his real story was like, what did you originally want to do? I said, dude, I remember being like 6 and 7 years old, and my mom and I used to go to Fridays in Texas, and that was like the coolest place back then. I was like, dude, they have bartenders. It was like the flair. I don't know why. I liked it, right? I was in the theater. And I told my mom, I'm going to be a bartender at Fridays. And she was like, all right. And I totally forgot about it. And it was years later when I started getting into doing other things. I got hired at Red Robin. I was selling women's shoes. And across from the Red Robin was a Fridays. And I was like, you know what? And sure enough, I became an opener for Fridays. And after that, I said I wanted, to work for a private restaurant. I wanted to be this. Oh, I wanted to own a restaurant. I wanted to be a chef. So I was a chef. And I've called the shots up until whatever. We wanted to start a podcast. We started a podcast. Want to work with better people? We get better people. I mean, if you put it out there, it's all really come true, right? I wanted to get out of this kitchen. Wanted to find something that allowed me to be home or not. Magically it shows up, right?
Yeah, it's true, man.
It's not, I'm not saying that to try to preach or anything, but it's been that way forever, right? I mean, it's next is if you really want a lot of money and that's what you want, guess what? If you focus on it, it's going to show up.
If you will it, it will be.
So I live by that wholeheartedly, and that's whether it be God or whatever, or Buddha or whatever it is you do that makes you think that. For me, it's the cosmic hum, man. If you put it out there, it will echo and it will come back to you.
Yeah, and if you shut it down right out the gate, it's also not.
No, that's
not going to happen.
Then that's what you get.
Which
is a glass half full, half empty.
Yeah, and that idea of you thought I was going to get philosophical before. Wait for this one.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Sorry. But no, that idea of life like flowing through you. You know what I mean? That like you. And, and I hate that.
I just had my second coffee. It's about to flow right through.
Flow right through. Oh, God. I took care of it before I left my house.
And since we're on this subject, we need to get back to where we were on our very first podcast, which is part 2. Talking about Cody serving balls to rich people. If you want to take lead on that, Dave.
I would love to. So I think I will. I'll jump in by introducing Chef Cody Stort sitting next to me, a gentleman who I reached out for the first time about 3 years ago doing an event, a big PR thing here, and had never contacted Cody Stort before. I'd heard him out before. I had a lot of mutual friends, of course.
Absolutely.
And became friends, shortly thereafter, and collaborators, obviously, on this. And I've had some friends, people like Gustavo and some other people that describe me and you as opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing on this end.
And I think you have a wonderful theatrical approach to things. You're very adept operationally. You've clearly rolled out some extremely successful properties. And I'm the opposite of that side of that coin. I'm kind of a failure. And,
not that I'm projecting that. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that. No,
sometimes the best lessons you learn is by not attaining what you wanted.
Yeah, but I'm the opposite side of that coin. I'm a little bit more cerebral. I think about find small details and extrapolate them out into bigger things, and my headspace can get a little confusing. But we do share a lot of commonality. That you started off doing Coachella. You started off kind of not knowing what you were doing too.
No, I started 100% backwards.
Yeah,
100% backwards. I was bartending, and I just was tired of getting home at 4:00 in the morning, and I was in the downtown Fullerton when there was only 4 or 5 restaurants kind of game, and I was at Stubrick's, and we were busy 4 or 5 nights a week, and we were partying a lot on the out time, and I finally just woke up one morning and said, man, if I really want to do something with my life, and not the bartending, and bartending back then was not what it is now. We talk about it all the time. Bartending was like, if somebody asked me for something mixed, I'd be like, bro, I don't have time. Like Jack and Coke, beer. If you want something off the top shelf, it's $20 for me to climb up there and get it.
Yeah,
like that was 90% of my gig.
Yeah, what's your craft cocktail tonight? Kettle soda.
Yeah,
that's our craft cocktail.
Did you want ice?
You get a lime with it.
Yeah,
some fresh.
Did you want ice or
citrus.
No, bro? Pick a color. That's what your drink's gonna be, right? Like it wasn't. What you guys do now is an art form. What I did was by no means an art form. It was talking a lot of smack and trying to hang with as much girls as possible was pretty much the MO, right? And we did really well.
Job description.
And so I decided to get into the kitchen because it's the only thing I knew nothing about. And I was like, well, I'd rather go to school than like go back there and start making pasta with guys they don't know and go through the ranks and be, that's just not my MO. And when I came out of school, I had known everything about the front of the house.
So mention when you went to school, by the way.
Cordon Bleu.
Okay.
Which is completely gone now, which is fantastic for my degree.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, I love it.
I now have the most expensive wall plaque on the planet. But I was at Cordon Bleu. I did both their hospitality front of house. I did their full culinary and full pastry, which I don't ever really talk about, but I did their full pastry program.
And you're pretty handy at it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do pretty well, but I do good.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff tastes really good, but like I said, that's just not my MO. It's pretty. I came out of there kind of hating fine dining, which is a real weird concept coming out of Cordon Bleu, but or CIA or anything, is that I'm just not into fine dining. Like, I think that it's a lost art form. I think if you can do it, it's cool, but I like food to look like food.
Yeah.
So,
it tastes like food.
Yeah, it tastes like food, not to be like a piece of art where you're like, well, I don't want to eat that. I'd rather look at it and go, that looks good. Let's eat. Right? Let's do it. Just the mentality's different, So when I came out of culinary school, I needed to do a externship, and I didn't want to do one that was like you go cook. I was going to go to France, basically, is what it was, and so I wasn't going to take on an externship out here. So we wanted to go to Coachella, and we were broke. This is really the start of that story. And
this is great stuff, by the way. I remember the first time you told me this story.
Yeah, so we were absolutely broke, and so I signed up. I turned in this thing, and my wife at the time, we filled out the stuff to go to Coachella to have like a 10-foot booth. And I'm like, guys, if you go, I'll give you all your hours. All my friends that work for me, we'll get in Coachella free. I'll give you all. I can sign off on all your hours because I have a business, and the school accepted me as a business. And then you can go do whatever extern you want that's paid. So all your free time will be done. So I took 14, 15 culinary school students with me. We went out there. We had a 10-foot booth. I bought a sign to cover the front part of the booth. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. We said pulled pork sandwiches, right? We were going to do pulled pork sandwiches. We bought buns. We were getting ice chests. We snuck all the food into Cordon Bleu and put it in the bread rack. We did like 500 pounds thinking that was going to be like way enough. Way enough food, right? We had no clue what we were doing. We filled up ice chests. We loaded it in the truck while nobody's looking, like sneaking 500 pounds of pork out of an ice chest and loaded in, took it to Coachella, put it in a freezer, took the freezer out to Coachella. We pull up, and first of all, we pull in, and there's these like 35-foot reefer trucks and like crews of 40 and 50 people right next to us, and they're everywhere. And I'm like, well, wonder what these guys are doing. And I realized they're doing the same thing we are, and I was like, we are fucked. There's no way. So you have a trailer full of food. I brought 500 pounds of pork and like 2 burners and a pot and 1 nacho machine, right? Like, and then I pull up and we have 20-foot booths, which means I don't have enough signs now. I don't have enough people, nothing. And we thought we were really cool, and we got smashed that week, man. It was like the first time I'd seen real money in a long time. And by real money, it was nothing what it turned into. But I had to make that up. We had no idea what we were doing, and we got welcomed back. We ended up doing 12 years, including stage coaches. And I used students for all of them, and, the plan worked until I was broken there. And then I came into, because of that, I had 12, basically, out of the 12 months, I only worked 6. We toured around, did all the Bonnaroo and worked our way back and did I ended up doing barbecue circuits just because we were there. We knew the guys. And in the end, I was having 6 months to do nothing and 6 months to kill myself. And so I started getting into consulting with the restaurants. And that's why everybody always goes, hey, man, you've been to so many restaurants and you don't work there anymore. I'm like, well, I can't. Like, I just go help people. And then I leave for 6 months where I make my money, and then I come back and help people. It's not like I'm getting paid by those people, right? I was like, hey, man, I'm back in town. Let's mess around in your kitchen. And then those became famous enough or good enough or whatever the heck they were that I then got out of one and into the other. So, and I learned more from the guys and my line cooks than I ever did as a chef. I would like make dishes up and then go to my line cooks and go, how do we make this? Like, how do we produce this? Like, I only know how to make this from school. And I know how to make like 100,000 pounds of this, but I don't know how to make 1 plate, dude. Or I don't know how to make enough for 20 plates, or like, it's just not, my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and that was the most telling story the first time we sat down and spoke about it, that, when you cop to like walking up to your line cooks, like, hey, I can do this big, or I can do one of them, but you need to show me how to do this, do 40 of these over the course of a 6-hour service.
Yeah, and I 100% had to kind of relearn, I had to learn backwards because I went to the top before I went to the bottom, which, I wouldn't encourage you unless you like a school of hard knocks. But for me, that's just how my brain works. And I was glorious enough and glad enough that I ran across some people that taught me, while I was acting. And because I could fill the house, because we could put people in the seats, it worked out. Everybody got paid.
Yeah, so hey, let's
know?
talk about acting real quick because
Yeah.
you have a theater background. I mean,
Totally.
you were obviously part of the rave scene. I love the fuzzy pants story and all that other stuff. You know, you've overcome a lot of challenges kind of
Oh,
coming out
man.
at that as well. You have some health stuff and a few other things.
Yeah.
But talk about your theatrical background because I mean, you were at Knott's. I mean, you were doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So.
Yeah, so I started out doing the theater stuff's great, man. If I wanted to do theater originally, and I ended up touring. I actually did the first version of Clockwork Orange in Denmark, and along with
Love
Commedia
that.
dell'arte.
That's awesome.
I did clowning with him. I toured with Los Pasos Mendigos. I toured with a few other people that we just learned from that were totally amazing street performers. And these guys, I got up to a point where I met the people that were doing theater at a level that was above anything that I ever wanted to do, but their lifestyle isn't what I saw myself doing. And so I either needed to switch and do film, and then I went and saw those people, and I was like, I don't want to do that lifestyle either.
Yeah, I know.
Like, wait a minute. I like what you do, and I like what you do, but I don't like either one of your lifestyles, right? So, so then I picked up restaurants, and it fit into the MO because you can come and go, only because I looked at it as a theater, right? So, I mean, after doing clowning and after doing stuff, and I really enjoy theater. Obviously, that's why we're doing this. We like to talk. We like to be with people, right? I like to be around people. That if you look at the last few restaurants that I designed and built, the kitchen was always center stage. So it was always open. It was always center stage. Things always had a focal point. And so I designed restaurants and I designed concepts as if you're going to a show. Was my whole MO. But that all comes from Knott's Berry Farm. I was the hangman at the hangman for at Knott's Scary Farm for 2 years.
Love
I
that
did.
Scary Farm.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I was the dude that got to hang everybody and kill everybody out the stage. It was fantastic.
That's great.
So I'm going to ask a
Yeah.
philosophical question.
Sure.
Was that a conscious decision you think, or did it just kind of happen on its own, Chef? I mean,
Building the restaurants that way?
where your two headspaces kind of collided as far as theatrics and food go.
No, it was like a bomb went off. It was like a bomb went off. Because I was bartending and I was like, whatever. I just like to talk to people. And the only reason I started cooking traditionally was not to be a chef in any way. But I was talking to people and I was like, really, my only job in life has been to bullshit. I don't have anything I do with my hands. My dad's a contractor. He can build anything. My whole family has this like line of like stuff that when they touch things and do things, it's cool, right? Like you can write and and I didn't have any of that. I was like, dude, I don't do it. Like I just bullshit all day, And so I was like, what do I like to do? And I was obviously a very heavy-set gentleman and like to eat. And so I decided that I was going to learn how a kitchen worked. And then the best way, that was what led me into learning how to cook, that I just thought I was going to go learn how to cook and then take it back to bullshitting so that I had a skill. And then that led me down the rabbit hole of cooking and going the other way. So it was all by happen circumstance, man.
Happen circumstance. That's a
wasn't,
great phrase.
yeah.
I'm gonna steal that one.
Yeah,
Seriously,
it wasn't a divine plan, it was like, what's the next best thing? And then you sit on it for a little while and it pops up, right? And I think I've done everything. I've tried to do everything that I touch to the fullest, and then I get to a point where I go, well, does the fullest look better over there, or is it time to go somewhere else? And that's just how it's led me the path to do what I do.
Well, let me just state you are right back to bullshitting now. So,
100%.
You thought it and it became real.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we start off on
We
manifesting?
did. We
Yes,
rolled
exactly,
right back around, baby.
But I think that I got to a point where I was talking to people about one-liners and jokes, and it felt very empty. When I was working behind the bar, it was like I was meeting people on a one-note level. There was no like connecting to it, and I think that was best for me at the time, right? Because my brain space was not in a place where connecting with anybody, or even what I said was even true, or if I was just talking smack or whatever. Where now. Now we're older now, and we've taken the knocks, and now I think that talking about it, you can actually refer to things that make sense versus just, "How's your day, man? How's it going, dude?"
Let me state
Let me not tell you about the last girl you brought in, right? Like that sort of deal.
When you do an interview and you ask a question, and somebody gives you this long-winded answer and never really answers the question, that's what you did. Because I asked about you serving rich people balls.
We'll get
and
there.
you never got there, man.
Well,
you got to get there. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
let's talk about that
so
one. Yeah.
so I never
Thanks for
wanted.
the reminder, by the way.
So I never wanted to put my name on a restaurant. Was really what it came down to. I was like, nope. And we were working with a gentleman we both worked with, which we won't mention it up very much, but he had a place in Fullerton. It was a hopscotch, and he had opened it, and it was a train wreck. Basically, the first month was a train wreck. It had some issues, and so I got offered to take that job, and I was like, nope, Fullerton's not ready for food. Not ready for food, man. And I said, but I'll take it if I can bring my sous chef and my pastry chef, and we can do whatever we want. You got to remodel the kitchen. I gave this unreal budget to remodel the kitchen, And sure enough, the dude said yes. And I was like, no way. Well, damn. So we got to redirect. We're going to go there. And Fullerton at the time was, as you know, was very burgers and fries and, salads and at the time was super nightlife.
And Heroes was the model back then. More fries.
Still the model.
Yeah, more fries than you can eat in a giant burger.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, look, man, we can either go the opposite and go super fancy, which isn't going to work here, or we can take on gastropub, which at the time I think Haven was the only one doing really gastropub. And I was like, we can't do just what they're doing. We're not going to copy, right? So we got to do something weird. And so my whole goal was to make things that would get us noticed, right? And so the first thing I thought of was like, we'll do pig ears and split pea soup inside of snouts. Like take the pork snout and braise it down and then fry it and put the split pea soup inside of it. So it's outlandish and weird and awful meats. And we did a lot of calf fries, which is, obviously balls. So we were like, man, we got to make it so that at least we get in the papers. And I had never been in I think Gustavo actually wrote to me the first time there. And same with Brad Johnson was like, I put these out. We did blue cornmeal crusted calf fries over creamed beef tongue. And the dish was called Lick My Blue Balls. And that was the first thing that got my name. That was truly the first thing that got my name put into any paper in Orange County by leaps and bounds. And from there, it just was like, well, we can do whatever we want now.
Yeah, it was kind of the bar still pretty high. Yeah.
The expectation is what it is, bro. And from there, we were able to serve, ribs with like gloves where you had to put on the gloves and bib to eat it. And, we got away with murder, dude. It was great.
That's awesome.
But rich people balls. That is really the first start of restaurant business. Once I got out all the other nonsense in Orange County.
No, that is awesome.
All right, we're gonna take a break real quick. We'll come right back. Peace. All right, so we're sitting here in the wonderful construction zone now. We want to thank you.
I'm putting pins in my knee because I really heard it. I got some stainless that's going in there.
So thank you guys for bringing back all those memories. I'm sure they'll come up again, and there'll be more stories to come in the future. But thanks for grinding me on that one.
Hey, you were like a politician, man. You just didn't answer the question. It was the longest
story
answering the
story
question
of my life.
ever.
Way to divert.
I only wanted to hear about the balls, man.
You got the balls?
I do.
It's not the first
We
time I
got
said
the
that.
balls.
Dude, let me say, man,
Everybody get on your feet.
That was a great story. And, you've got to interview so many people. It's awesome for everybody to hear about what you've done and what you achieved, because I'm sure that they're excited to learn about you as well. You're an important person within the industry.
Thanks, man.
I always say, and you hate it, I always say you're like a star chef, dude. But
I was like,
you
you're
are
celebrity chef.
you are. Come on.
But
I appreciate that.
It's I don't think we get to hear enough about you.
I appreciate that. We'll talk about skydiving in fur pants at some point.
I can hardly wait.
There's all kinds of good stuff.
I'm gonna start
Cooking was the most boring job I had.
I'm gonna start digging around with my rave friends to find some photos.
I'm telling you, there's some good stuff, dude. There's some good stuff, and we'll get into it, man. I think that's what all of us has, these great stories, and as we interview people and we get to talk more and see how it goes. I mean, the restaurant life and business, it takes a certain kind of person. And I think all three of us are very, like we said in the last show, are very different, but it takes all those different personalities to make the restaurant work. It's one of the business that I think has the most moving parts of any business I've seen in my life. I haven't seen everything, but I've never seen a business that everything has to fire on all cylinders for it to work. And if one thing's off, it really throws a pin in the wrench.
I'll give you the example. Like you own a surfboard shop, right? You have surfboards. You probably have some pothead kids that are working there. You got some utilities and maybe a couple permits. That's about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You own a restaurant, you got 3 different skill sets in there. You got food going bad, multiple vendor. It's a completely different.
Yeah, you're a
business.
warehouse and production facility all in one deal.
Yeah. And
from the bar all the way down. So I think this show encapsulates that, and I'm stoked to be a part of it, guys. Thanks for doing it, man.
Hey, we're stoked to be a part of that, right,
stoked.
Dave?
No, seriously, it's going to be a great ride. We're looking forward to giving everybody sort of a landing spot for the things they care about in the restaurant industry, and for people that aren't in the business, some of the ground has been covered as far as pulling back the curtains and showing you what's behind it. But we're going to give you our own version of that, because what we have to say comes from experiences that this isn't a typical setup with chefs and bartenders talking about the industry together. It's usually one or the other, and where these words, I'm going to say coalesce again.
Wow,
I know, right? But yeah, but where all three of us kind of land together on this stuff is where the magic's going to happen, and that's going to be the model for our audience.
Where the magic happens.
Where the magic is
happens.
that going to be our slogan?
We can.
3 baldies and a cowboy hat, or where the magic happens.
And
one of the two.
And mis pantalones.
I'm excited to be a part of this, because I feel that bartending shows, like, I'm a big fan of bartending podcasts, YouTube channels, and all those other things, but you never get to really see them come together like you just said, Dave. But on the same sense, they're so entwined and already put together that the fact that it's so separate and it blows my mind, because they one cannot really exist without the other. I feel it'd be boring. Be boring to just have food and not have some cocktails, wet your palate, get your stomach ready for the exciting entree that you're going to have in front of you. But I mean, our business is a business that you can never stop learning. And it doesn't just end with food, and it doesn't just end with beverage, but hospitality, PR. The PR team, my God, that'll make and break your restaurant.
100%.
You know, there's so many facets of what we're able to put in front of everybody that we're never going to have a problem having the most interesting guests on this podcast. And, you know, we had already all kind of talked about it and agreed that we're going to torture our listeners to once a month, all three of us coming together and just shooting the shit, talking about life, talking about what's going on in the world, and not just giving you an interview format, but kind of a format where we all get to come together once in a while and talk about life and philosophy and what's going on in the world. You know, maybe throw out some news about food and beverage and talk about stuff that's
Things are a-coming.
Our
Things
opinions
are
on that.
Are coming.
So,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
going to be an interesting ride for all of us on the food and on the bar side, and that's going to be something that we're going to talk about, you know, for sure. And you know, the foodie culture to me is interesting because it drives our business, and obviously we need to plug into people's expectations and whatever the flavor of the month is. But I think the broader narrative to kind of get people engaged in a very deep sense of the restaurant world is to talk about what we do.
Totally.
Whether it's in the bar with food or anything else, you know, when you get that sense of engagement, it's not just walking the front door of your restaurant, and that's not what this podcast is about. This is about understanding the reasons why we do what we do, and making people think about the reasons, you know, they do what they do in the restaurant world as well. What do you like? What do you don't like? You know, what do you appreciate about a restaurant and culture-wise and everything else? And man, it's a big universe. It's a big universe.
I tell everybody all the time, man, it's a big world out there. Careful what hand you shake and wash after.
Yeah,
Definitely wash after.
Yeah, definitely wash after.
Just letting you know,
Wash
dude.
after.
Just throwing that out there, dude. Well, guys, cool, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up for the first one. I know that we're going to break out next month. We'll all be together back here at the pool, most likely, because Tony has a nice view.
It's nice back here.
Yeah, dude.
It's relaxing.
You're the best part, Tony. You're the best part.
We could do it inside with the wall of guitars, I guess.
Oh, so broad.
We keep
So
the
broad.
sexiest guy off the camera.
So
How does
broad.
that work?
Bro,
So broad. So broad. All right, man. Thank you guys very much. We'll look forward to it. Please link, comment, good, bad, or ugly. We want to hear about it from your mug. www.fatdrunkandhappy.com. Same as on Instagram and Facebook. Hit us up. See you there.
Cheers.
Cheers.